everybody, Michael Falato here again from GTM Full Throttle. We have a new podcast today with Gerardo Dada from the Adaptive Marketing. He wrote a book about some marketing techniques and strategies. Tell us a little bit about why you're here today, what you've done, and what was your journey to even get to this next step in writing a book?
Thank you, Michael, for the opportunity. Well, I started off as an entrepreneur I grew up in Mexico. I had a half a dozen businesses. So that's my background was on the business side. And then I realized I enjoyed technology marketing more than anything else.
Mm-hmm.
So in 98, I moved to the States. So it's 28 years now. And I've been working with software and technology companies since in marketing and leadership positions. I've been heading product marketing teams at companies like Microsoft and Rackspace and SolarWinds. I've been a CMO for companies like Keeper Security and also at Cashpoint Systems. Most recently, we got acquired. I started writing this book about 10 years ago because I realized that a lot of marketers are trying to work on things like positioning, competitive differentiation, which are not just marketing things. They're just really corporate strategy. And I think that way, marketers can have a seat at the table with the CEO and with the executive team being more active in terms of strategy. That's why I started writing the book 10 years ago, and I finally got some time and finished it, and I hope it will be published around the end of August.
And what was the biggest aha moment of writing that book that you either found out about yourself or about strategies or just about the CMO journey as a whole?
Well, I think there's two CMOs nowadays. There's like the profile of the one that is just operational, demand generation, more tactical, and the one that's more strategic and wants to become that interface of the company to the market. And I encourage marketers to step up to that second role, right? That's really a lot more important, a lot more strategic. You become a better partner to sales. You become the right hand person to the CEO, and it's a great journey. For me, the main thing I learned with the book was also that the idea of competitive positioning and strategy is really one system that needs to work together, right? So you cannot come up with just messaging for a product you're launching unless it's rooted in a corporate strategy, and vice versa. You cannot come up with a corporate strategy unless it's actually instantiated in the positioning for the products you're selling and how you're communicating to the market. So it needs to be a lot more connected than people have been doing lately.
And is there any particular tech AI solution? Like I've ran into like Blaze.ai, which I think is really cool for posting a bunch of different stories and produce it in AI, and it produces it across multiple engines and multiple social platforms. And then a company called Town that kind of manages all my calendar events and all my engagements and what I need to be doing. What's some tech that you would say like this is something I was using at my past companies or going to be using at my next company that you really love and why you like it?
Well, I think Claude is great at helping create content, right? ChatGPT, Gemini, whatever is your cup of tea is great at producing content at volume. Again, it needs to be rooted on good strategy. I actually like two things. One, I like using one of those LLMs as a sparring partner to bounce ideas. Like, what about this? And I actually have literally a conversation. Like, how should I think about this? How does it fit with this other idea? So I find it really powerful in terms of validating thoughts, coming up with ideas, generating more ideas, and working with the LLM to create better ideas. What I found best in my previous gigs has been really using things like Clay and other tools to automate the entire stack. So
Hmm.
you don't have silos like here's what Salesforce says and here's what HubSpot says. You really have one version of the truth, and you connect all your sources into an intelligent system that becomes basically the knowledge base for everything you know about your customers, about how the business is going, what marketing campaigns are effective, and so on. I think that's extremely powerful and one of the most powerful uses of AI today.
And what's a lesson learned like if something that you did really well and you're like, oh, that's something I want to pass on to people that ever work for me, or something that you failed miserably and you lose and you learn.
Well, I think and my last company at Cashpoint, it was a great lesson learned in terms of category creation and positioning, right? We found that the company had something very unique and special, and the company was trying to talk, following the wave that everybody is doing, right? Like, so the company was in the space of observability, but by saying, hey, we're another observability company, you're one of 50 different ones. I went to a CMO event here in Austin just last week. There were 20 booths. All of them were the AI agent for whatever, right? It's a sea of sameness. There's no uniqueness. Like, everybody's expected to be using AI and agents. So saying we're the AI agent of something doesn't help anybody. So it's really important that you define your category in terms of the problems you actually solve for the customer, not the waves you want to ride or the words that are in vogue, right? Like, not the shiny objects, but something that's actually useful for your customers to understand what you do that's unique and that is powerful. And it takes years to continue hammering that message to actually be able to create a category, to be consistent, and to build thought leadership and content around it.
What's some conferences that you're going to that or at least you want to go to over the next 6 months that we might be able to meet you at?
I've been going to some of the CMO Alliance events, and I think that I like the regional events a little bit better because they're very more personal, and I also like the Forrester technology marketing events.
Mm-hmm.
And there's also one for Gartner that aligns technology, product, and marketing. That's actually fairly interesting as well. I love Hank Barnes is one of my favorite analysts, and any place where he's speaking, I would probably want to go there.
So who should reach out to you? How can they get a hold of you?
Well, so I write at the adaptivemarketer.com. You can find me on LinkedIn. My name is fairly unique, so it'd be easy to find. And you can also find my book. It's called Outposition. The website is Outposition Book. You will find it also on my LinkedIn or in the Adaptive Marketer. And that's the best way to connect and maybe even learn from my experience. I try to write useful posts about marketing and strategy.
And if you want to find your LinkedIn, it's GDADA.
That's correct.
That's what you do after the /n/ the username. So that's how you find
Okay.
it. Obviously, thank you for being on the show today. If you want to reach out to me, anybody that's listening, it's Michael Falato, and it's basically Full Throttle, GTM Full Throttle, and phone number is 512-639-3375. Please feel free to text me or find me on LinkedIn. Thanks again for being on the show.
Thank you, Michael. Take care.